No one person should ever have access to this amount of power! Shouted Ape Sage. Ape Sage was talking about the magical rock he had found in the deepest and darkest parts of the ocean in the deep Black Sea during one of his many diving runs to find materials to add to the custom watches he manufactured. A strong force had pulled him down to the deepest depths of the ocean and spat him right back out with an unusually glowing rock the size of a coconut. So he took the rock back to his house, where it started talking, flying, changing colors, and better yet, asking Ape Sage to make wishes which would come true before the blink of an eye. Ape Sage knew that no one ape should ever be in possession of such a powerful rock. If the rock got into the wrong hands, it will be used as a weapon to destroy all of ape kind. So Ape Sage thought of many ways to destroy the rock, but the consequences may be too strong. Tiredness overcame Ape Sage and he fell asleep. In his dream, his grandfather appeared and instructed him to break the rock into small stones and place them into different watches, and give them to well-mannered apes all over the world. For that would split the rock's power as long as they were divided. Ape Sage woke up, started breaking the rock into small pieces, and placed them into unique, handcrafted watches that he manufactured. Once all the stones were placed on the watches, he carefully packed them into individual boxes and sent them to principled apes across planet Earth. He made sure that no two watches were sent to the same location to avoid any chance of the stones finding each other. All apes received their watches, and it brought each of them instant luck in their business affairs, and all considered the watch to be their luck of charm. But none of them knew about the magical stone residing within the watches. Many years passed in which Ape Sage felt relief, even to his death. The apes passed the watches on to their future generations for thousands of years, and they became extremely wealthy when compared to the broader ape kind. Fast forward into the future, an extremely pretty on the exterior but evil-hearted on the inside scientist named Ape Betty would change the course of history of apekind for the worse. She felt that there were too many apes and too little luxury brands in the world and felt she deserved all of it. So she tried to create weapons to wipe out most of the ape population and accumulate more high-end fashion brands for herself. But she failed every time. She knew she needed something more powerful, something more magical. So Ape Betty traveled the world and noticed the wealth of certain families. She was dumbfounded after seeing the success these apes and their families had, but none of them knew how they had become so successful when she asked. A common story emerged. They all had a unique watch with a stone on the dial that was passed on from their ancestors. Ape Betty now knew that these watches possessed what she needed for her diabolical plans. Ape Betty returned home and instructed her spies to steal all watches. The spies traveled around the world stealing the watches. All of the apes resisted handing the watches over and unfortunately faced the consequences. The spies took the ape hands with the watches still placed on them to the lab where Ape Betty was awaiting their arrival. The energy could be felt across the lab now that all the watches were so close to each other. An ape named Ape Ryu had a dream of Ape Sage, his great-grandfather, who told him the danger of the stones coming together, threatening apekind survival, and advised him as to where to find the watches. Ape Ryu started his journey to Betty's lab. He avoided the security and managed to retrieve all of the pants and the watches attached to it. Ape Ryu saved apekind, and you can only imagine how angry and irritated this made Ape Betty. Ape Ryu dreamt of Ape Sage once again and was instructed to find and distribute the hands with the watches back to their rightful owners. Help Ape Ryu on its journey and watch the continuous evolution of the story.